everyone, welcome to episode 21 of the Magnus Archives review. This one's called Freefall. Also, if you're wondering why all of my videos kind of seem to be from like different aspects of my room, it's just because I'm trying to figure out which one works best with the different videos I'm making. So you'll see a lot of that probably. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the episode. So this episode specifically was dated for October 20th of 2002, and also Kelly, who is Robert's mother, is giving the details of this particular episode. It's one of my favorites because one of the most famous quotes comes from this episode. So without further ado, let's get started. So Kelly goes in to describe Robert when he was younger as a very adventurous child. He, when they lived in the countryside, he would go out into the forest, he would go explore the forest, he would climb the trees. Even though he was out with his friends, he always was the person who used to climb all of the trees as much as possible. And he was always getting lost, which wasn't the greatest thing. And she goes in to talk about when he got older, he started loving more of those adventurous hobbies. He wanted to really get to the top of the wall climbing, like places that he would go to, and once he got through with that, he did mountain biking, scuba diving, until he found the particular hobby that he liked, which was skydiving. He got a job with this company called the Open Skydiving Company, and he was an instructor for them, and of course the mom was very happy for him, being like, oh, I'm so proud of you, but of course that's the adrenaline as well of a mom being like, what happens if one day you jump out the plane and you end up dying or something, which is completely and utterly understandable. And so the days where he couldn't make it home, he would always send postcards, and a lot of the postcards was signed, and I have a quote for this. It was signed, "With love, your free-falling son," which now she says she doesn't like it anymore, but before it was like, it's okay, it's kind of cute. And so one night Robert came home very like puffy-eyed, under bags under his eyes, and he looked like he hadn't showered for days or eaten for days. So they took him in, they had him get a shower, get some food in his system. Then they kind of just asked him, what happened? Did you lose your job or something? In fact, my dad used to skydive and he loved it, and I will not go. Maybe sometime in life. But anyway, so he originally started skydiving as a charity event, and they went skydiving that way. And so when he landed, he was just in love with it. He loved it so much that he actually started going every single month, which his mom was just kind of like, how are you affording this? This is not a cheap hobby, which in real life that is true, because it costs like $300 just for a ticket to go jump off a fucking plane. But it's the adrenaline that matters. He used to visit home a lot, and when he did visit home, which he slowly ended up only visiting for like Mother's Day or Christmas, not even like birthdays or anything, he was telling his mom what job he got. He got a job with this company called the Open Skydiving Company, and he was an instructor for them. And of course the mom was very happy for him, being like, oh, I'm so proud of you, but of course that's the adrenaline as well of a mom being like, what happens if one day you jump out the plane and you end up dying or something, which is completely and utterly understandable. And so the days where he couldn't make it home, he would always send postcards, and a lot of the postcards was signed, and I have a quote for this. It was signed, "With love, your free-falling son," which now she says she doesn't like it anymore, but before it was like, it's okay, it's kind of cute. And so one night Robert came home very like puffy-eyed, under bags under his eyes, and he looked like he hadn't showered for days or eaten for days. So they took him in, they had him get a shower, get some food in his system. Then they kind of just asked him, what happened? Did you lose your job or something? He laughed and he explained that he actually quit. And so she was like, oh, you quit your skydiving job? And he twitched as soon as he heard her say sky. And this is very interesting because he goes in to tell us a story of why this is. And he was saying that he did a dive in Doncaster, I think is how you say it. And it was an 85-year-old who wanted to do a dive specifically to do it in memory of his dying wife, or his dead wife, sorry, which I thought was actually really, really nice and really adorable. So he wanted to do a solo parachute, and his name was Simon. So he goes up in the airplane with both of them, and the instructor that Simon's with is called Harriet Fairchild. And so as they're getting ready to jump out, he turns to Robert and he says, "Enjoy Sky Blue." And then Robert starts to feel really weird, really wrong. He gets dizzy. It's just not good. But then Robert decides that he is just gonna jump now after everyone else has jumped already. So he jumps, and then like he does a little counting of 30 seconds. And the sky was very blue, like it was very bright, but there was no clouds and there was no sun. And as he finishes 30-second count, and that's supposed to be the count of when you get to start seeing the ground if you're not on the ground already, he realized that, oh shit, there is no ground. It's still the fucking blue sky. And he realizes that time keeps going and going and going, where it becomes hours and days, he even feels like. And he said that he was so hungry while he was up there. So then he closes his eyes again, and then he opens it again. He realizes, oh shit, I'm literally right by the ground. He pulls his parachute, and then he lands, and Harriet comes up to him, and she's like, "Oh, you were up there for like 15 minutes. What's going on?" And he was like, "Only 15 minutes?" She was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Well, I quit." And that's how he quit. At this point in the story, of course, Kelly is like, "Well, let's sit on it. Let's have you go to sleep." And then the next day, she asks him, "Oh, do you want to go for a walk? Like, it's a very nice day outside." And of course, he first politely declines. He's like, "No, I'm okay." But then she's like, "Oh, well, it'll be like a picnic. It'll be like a lunch." And he's like, "Okay, yeah, sure, we'll go." And so then he decides to go with her. And they go, and he keeps glancing at the sky consistently, and it's like making her kind of nervous. But then when they actually sit down, he seems to be really enjoying himself, and she said that this was the happiest hour she's ever seen him. And they just sit and chat, and there's no underbags under his eyes or anything like that. He's just very, very happy. He even stops looking at the sky. And so then they go for a walk on this hill that's right by their house, and as they're reaching the top of the hill, he turns towards her and he screams and he pushes her away. And Kelly notes something interesting. She says that she has no other way of explaining this, but that as she was getting up, that's when he literally got swallowed by the sky. Like the sky took him, ate him, shifted and twisted like quicksand, and then just ate him. And that was it. And of course, John's just like, what the fuck? And of course, so after this, in the very important notes part, the first thing Jonathan says is, "Can this guy actually eat people?" And of course, with his skepticism, he's just like, "I don't think this is real." She looks into this, and she finds that the company does not exist and has never existed. The only thing that she can find was some late 2000s news article of an open skydiving school. So then Jonathan's like, all right, who's lying? So is he lying to the mom, or were the people lying to the son, or who's lying here? And then we have Tim, who looked into the incident reports, and he found that June 3rd of 2002, Joseph heard a hard impact, and when he went outside to go check it out, it was just a parachute that was deep, deep, deep into the earth. And he proceeded to tell the news reporters that there was no like airplanes or anything like that that was flying over his house during that time, and there was no skydiving happening over there either. And apparently on the 7th of June is when Robert got filed as missing, and Jonathan's like, did he move around a lot? Of course, they try to follow up with Kelly, but Kelly is like, no, I don't want to revisit the past. I don't want to talk about my dead son anymore. And then that's when Jonathan does something a little bit interesting, where he's like, Harriet Fairchild, well, Simon Fairchild sounds really, really interesting and really familiar. But before he can tell us about this, he gets interrupted randomly, and he quotes, and I quote, "Martin, what the hell are these?" And you can hear a bunch of like bugs like coming in, and it's really, really weird and really, really awkward too. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope it's more organized than the last ones. I know that the last one wasn't as great. I'm trying to figure out a really good setting to start doing all of my videos and stuff, so let me know what you think in the comments. See you guys next time.